Hello viewer, welcome to the issue, a program where we'll keep you updated on the latest happening in the country. With me in the house today is a lecturer, a researcher, author, a public and political analyst, Mr. Oluwaseun Olopade. It's still your program, The Issue. On the program today, we'll be discussing inflation. We want to talk about the causes, how inflation has affected each household as a whole. Welcome, Mr. Olopade. It's nice to have you here.
My pleasure to be with you.
As I said earlier, our topic today is inflation. So I would like to ask you, what's your perspective or your take on the current inflationary trend in the country?
Well, every household is being affected by the rate of inflation in the country. And if you look at the conceptual clarifications of inflation, inflation simply means the rate of increase in price of a particular commodity over a given period of time. Okay. So which means increase in price has devolved into virtually every commodity in the country. And that has a function of so many things. We can trace that to currency devaluation and that of a fuel subsidy removal. A country like ours, where we rely solely on a mono-economic practice, which is our sole dependence and reliance on fuel, PMS, premium motor spirit. So which means, and don't forget, we don't have a functional refinery except the one we just have by Dangote, which is already set for operation. But for the past 21 years, or let me say even since independence, before the discovery of the oil, we have been engaging in agriculture. Even when the oil has been discovered for the past 20, 30 years, we don't have a functional refinery. Rather, we extract crude from our country, export it, and later brought it back, which is called entrepot. Then they will now sell using international market price. Okay. So the government now came with the idea of bringing subsidy in order to reduce the price, because this is a commodity that every household needs. Whether you buy directly or you don't buy directly,
you bought keke or you
whatever,
bought bus,
anything, even
you are consuming.
Transportation, the logistics of the commodity we are buying, whether by the PMS, the diesel, and whatever. So it's a passive. So an increase in that will cause increase in other commodity.
Yeah. So are you saying, because you mentioned earlier that agriculture was there before PMS?
Yes.
So are you saying if the economy or the country has taken to agriculture, we might not be having this kind of inflation we have right now?
Don't forget, we cannot do away with globalization. Yeah. There's no country that can be of independence. There must be trade. But whenever a particular country wants to trade, they must give preference to their absolute advantage of productions, which means we have absolute advantage in oil and that of the agriculture. Okay. Suppose we have functional refinery, we are refining ourselves. Okay. We can still sell the PMS at a very low price. And also looking for other alternative through agriculture. And don't forget now too, apart from that, there are other sources of energy that have been discovered. We have the wind energy, we have the solar energy, and other forms of energy. Okay. So what I know that the causes of our inflation today is as a result of our over-reliance on the crude and on the fuel. Yeah. And again, our currency devaluation. Since we are not producing, we import more than what we produce. The ratio of import is more than the ratio of the export. Therefore, we continue to chase high currency, continue to chase hard currency, which is dollar, with our naira. And if you look at the exchange rate, look at the value of naira to a dollar. So you can see all these things are causing inflation. And since we are not producing, we buy from them. And the exchange rate will now take effect. And don't forget, the principle of buying and selling is that you cannot sell below
what you buy,
the cost price.
Yeah.
So these are what has really caused the high price.
It's not only for generally.
That is it. Yeah. That is it. So every household, look at the commodity someone bought last year, go to the market now and check the price. It is high. So every household is affected.
Okay, viewer, there we have it on the definition of inflation and the causes of inflation in our nation. So now I believe that every household, like, they face inflation in their in their house. So I want to ask you that what do you feel or what do you think each household can do to manage inflation?
Well, before the issue of household, the issue of inflation is an economic issue. And not just an economic, is a macro economic issue.
Okay.
It's under the fiscal policy and the monetary policy.
Okay.
The government have to act first by coming with public-private collaborations.
Okay.
That is,
Where the private sector
where the private and the public sector comes
comes
in
together
in providing solutions to the
Are you
lingering
saying
menace.
something like a mixed economy?
We already have mixed economy.
Okay.
But the involvement of the private sector through effective legislation and policy has not been effective.
It's not.
And again, apart from the public-private sector, the government needs to provide incentives, such as tax incentive for the private sector, provision of infrastructural facilities. Virtually all the companies that we knew when we were growing up in the country have left the country. A function of lack of infrastructural facilities, electricity. According to my research, we have researched in a lot of infrastructural facilities. Electricity, a country where we don't have a self-sufficient electricity, no manufacturing firm will want to stay in that country.
Yes.
Because they continue to operate at a very high cost.
High price.
And once you operate at a very high cost, and don't forget when inflation settings, the purchasing power of every household will be reduced.
Yes.
When a company is now producing and there are no people to buy. And don't forget, when you want to produce, you have to invest capital.
Yes.
So when would they get return on the investment made? So most of them have left the shore of this country to neighboring country, like the Ghana, Benin Republic, and other sub-Saharan African country, where they have sustainable infrastructural facilities.
So what you're saying now that before each household can do anything, the government has to come in.
The government,
first.
Because it's an issue of fiscal and monetary policy, and that is a macroeconomics policy.
Okay, so we get
which is a dictate of the government.
Okay.
And don't forget, household too can make contributions. Look at it now. The only thing an household can do to cushion that, most of what we buy are food. Majority of that's the far as the economy is concerned, 60% or 70% of our salaries go for purchase of food. Because Abraham Maslow in his theory said that the basic need is very, very paramount. So what can we now do? Look at, I was watching the wife of the president show something last month that they have now grown a particular food in their compound. So I think people can now come in, since most of our money go on food, we can use some of the land we are not even used to engage in peasant agriculture for consumptions. So that is one of the strategies you can use. Then the government, he has removed the subsidy because he said some people are just shopping from the subsidy, but they have to do something.
Okay.
Dangote said it will kick off. There's another trade war between Dangote and NNPC Limited.
Okay.
As we look at what just happened yesterday, virtually all filling station has been closed. Waiting for the new price of the PMS, which means what we are buying today, tomorrow may come, and we say we buy at a very high price. So the government has to intervene to settle, to legislate in resolving the lingering matter, what has been causing the hike in price of the PMS. Since we sell public-private sector, I think Dangote has come in as alternative in order to have come with a refinery. Okay. But if it's now coming to refinery, there must be a legislation for price control.
Okay.
You know, in Nigeria, if every businessman can just come to Nigeria market and set a price. Not that we don't have the price legislation control, but the practice of it and that of it is not very active or effective in Nigeria. There must be a price legislation control.
Price legislation is what the government and private-owned individuals should do to at least curb inflation in the home and economy in general. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today.
Pleasure. Thank you.
I was able to learn one or two too. And that's it on the issue today. Goodbye.